Welcome to another episode of Ingrid's World. This episode features Catholics for Housing, whose mission is to provide affordable housing opportunities to limited income individuals or families throughout Northern Virginia. We're very fortunate to speak with Karen DeVito, the executive director who has a long history of creating paths for self-sufficiency. She traces her career to 1990 when she was offered the opportunity to manage a local HUD Section 8 program in Milford, Connecticut. Following year, HUD introduced Family Self-Sufficiency Program. She is joined in the conversation with Charlie Einsmann, the treasurer and member of the board of directors. He brings 25 years of real estate experience and is a licensed real estate agent in Virginia. He owns Green Dot Title, a successful independent title company. Clear Sky Properties LLC. He has been on the board of directors for 6 years. So let's meet these two dynamic people from Catholics for Housing. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the show, Charlie.
Thank you very much.
So here's the first question. Catholics for Housing, how did you tell us, first of all, a little bit about yourselves?
I came to Catholics for Housing because I moved to Virginia to be near my family. Prior to coming here, as you said, I had managed Section 8 in Milford, Connecticut, and prior to that I had managed properties. So when I came to Catholics for Housing, it was sort of a natural fit. I already had a lot of housing background, and I was able to use the experience that I had created in Connecticut to help grow and expand the programs for Catholics for Housing.
Wow, great. And Charlie, how did you come to Catholics for Housing?
Well, I started with Catholics for Housing about 6 years ago. A good friend of ours, good family friend of ours, Father Creedon, was present at my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. And Father Creedon knew what I did for a living. One of the things that we do is we manage a lot of assets. We manage housing assets, we manage loan assets and those kinds of things. And then when he explained to me what Catholics for Housing did and that Catholics for Housing had a need for a real estate professional, then it was a good fit. And so I'd always wanted to do something charity specific, and so this was a good charity for me to volunteer my time.
Wonderful. So the mission of Catholics for Housing?
The mission of Catholics for Housing is to help limited income families develop sustainable housing. We have a service area that goes from King George County to the DC line. So there's a lot of area that we can work in. We don't have programs in all those areas, but if possible, we could do that. Catholics for Housing is expanding its programs to try to address a lot of issues.
They're so powerful. What was the inspiration?
Catholics for Housing was started in response by Father Creedon to the U.S. Catholic Bishop's letter in 1975 called The Right to a Decent Home. Father Creedon put a notice in the bulletins of Catholic churches and said there's a housing crisis, and if you're interested, come and talk to me. When he got those people together, those people began Catholics for Housing. And in 1979, we became a 501c3, a nonprofit charitable corporation.
Wow. So how is it structured in Catholics for Housing?
As a nonprofit, we have paid staff, we have some volunteers, and we have a board of directors that provides oversight and guidance for our programs, making sure that we are maintaining and sustaining our mission and fulfilling that mission and the programs that we do.
Yeah, I like how you said it was the inspiration that you had, a priest put in a letter to go. What was and you said that Father Creedon invited you to get involved in it. What was the hook? Because it sounds like when I had a chance to attend the banquet, and it sounds like there's a lot of volunteer service going on there. So what was the hook of getting involved?
Well, the hook for myself was the space of affordable housing. Affordable housing is a very challenging space, and so with our experience in real estate, it's very challenging to have a budget It's not a one-size-fits-all, but it's hard to get people into affordable housing. Personally, I had a lot of experience with it, and so the other thing that Catholics for Housing does is that it also owns and maintains a lot of its assets. So on the nonprofit side, with having a staff that runs the programs, we also have to manage a lot of assets. And so when you manage assets, it's very challenging to make sure that they at least break even from a cash flow basis. So that was the hook that pulled me in.
And Karen, I bet you live and breathe Catholics for Housing to make it work.
I do. I spend a lot of hours. And when I came to Connecticut, when I came from Connecticut to Virginia, I had been immersed in the HUD programs there, and I had done over 12 years there, and I was determined never to be involved with housing again. So I made my plans, and God sort of giggles at me, and I ended up at Catholics for Housing. And it has worked, and I found the ability to create some of the programs that I had used in Connecticut that the people there had taught me, my clients had taught me there, and so it was just, it's a labor of love. And those of us who do this are very dedicated in what we do.
So you have pictures there that you're showing us, and you have, tell us about some of the pictures that we're taking a look at.
Sure. One of the pictures is the very first project of Catholics for Housing, and it's called Briarcliff, and it is 30 units of affordable housing. And it is in wonderful condition. It has been well maintained all of these years. I think it was built about 1985, somewhere in there. And we are a co-owner right now. National Housing Trust is the managing partner, and they do a great job with it.
Wow. And Holly, I heard you say in terms of managing the different finances. When I first heard about some of the work, not only going to the banquet, but then I saw the news release about the East End. Tell us a little bit about what was going on there at that mobile home.
Okay, the East End Mobile Park, located in Manassas, Virginia. I received a call from a friend of mine that wanted to know if Catholics for Housing could try and help the situation over there. What was going on is that the current owner, the previous owner, could not, he had a lot of infrastructure problems, and so he had a lot of sewer issues, a lot of water issues, a lot of storm management issues, and quite frankly, he couldn't afford to renovate the entire property because it was costly and because he wasn't making enough money. What happened was the city of Manassas stepped in to purchase the property, and they were going to evict 55 trailer owners from their homes and displace them. When we were approached with the caveat that said, can you find somewhere else for these folks to live? And the answer was no, because there just wasn't enough affordable housing to go for these people to move to. A lot of them were paying $400 and $500 a month in rent. And as you well know, in the Northern Virginia, Fairfax area, there's nowhere for these people to go. So then we said, okay, well, maybe Catholics for Housing can purchase the trailer park. That was a far-fetched idea.
Wow. Because you did say it was nonprofit, and
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of money there. Okay.
No, there isn't. But sometimes you need to do things and you work to make it. And I was one of the people that said, we can't do this. We really need to stay away from this. Wow. But
did you really?
yeah, until we really started talking about it.
I think I would be just like her.
Charlie brought some people in and said, Karen, you need to listen, see how this operates. And we began to put numbers together and scenarios together until we could figure out how to make it work. And then the rest is
the rest is history. We basically did it on a shoestring budget. We had to coordinate a lot of events and activities. The city of Manassas, for one thing, wasn't very confident in that we would be successful with it, so we had to sell ourselves to the city of Manassas. And how we did that was basically by the strength of our board. We had a lot of real estate people on the board. We had a general contractor on the board he could do this kind of infrastructure work. And so we had to prove to them that we could actually do it, because one of the things that we had to do is we had to subordinate their agreement with the previous owner. So we had to go through that. Then we had to get the previous owner to agree to deal with us.
Yes.
And then we also had the residents that had to kind of like us, because one of the things that was going on was there was an assertion hearing going on between the residents and the landlord. An assertion hearing is where instead of the residents paying the landlord rent, they were depositing their rent with Prince William County Courthouse. And so over a period of time, these rent payments grew to where there was a fund of between $250,000 and $300,000 in the court system, and these people use this money to try and save their homes. So there were a variety of people that we had to sort of prove ourselves that we could not only run and manage it, but also that we had the viability to buy it, and that took a lot of time.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
You know, just managing your own home and going, you know, buying your own home, and now you have 50 homeowners? Is that what you're...
They were homeowners, and they had lived through months of uncertainty because they were all under eviction. There were little children not knowing if they were going to get to stay in the school. There were young people not knowing where they were going to go, where they were going to live. And we came in with a viable plan. The council approved our plan, City of Manassas Council. And so we came up with this plan, and the residents began to back us.
Wow.
So that was good.
So Charlie, how many families were involved? How many people are we speaking
All right,
about?
so there were a total of approximately 55 trailers, about 220 people. At that 220 people, there were about 110 kids.
Oh, wow.
And so when it was brought to our attention, we didn't think that we could save it, but fortunately we did. And I have to admit, being part of a diverse board like Catholics for Housing, you have a wide array of people, and Karen and her staff are so talented. We had a lot of talent on the board, and I couldn't be more proud of an organization as I am of CFH today. So this was a very difficult challenge.
Oh my goodness. It just gives me chills to know the power of your board coming together and speaking about it. Now, what also struck me is that, because again, I'm going back to your banquet, is that you have, and also your pictures, you have training that's going on, because, for instance, you know, what is it like to be a homeowner and the skills that are involved? Tell us about that.
We manage a number of programs. One of them is a homeownership program. We've done several. Catholics for Housing has been a developer. We developed in 1999, we developed 33 townhomes that went to first-time home buyers. In about 2005, we developed another 19, that was Linton Hall Manor in Bristow. And I worked with the buyers to make sure that they understood what was going. They were all first-time home buyers. They didn't know, necessarily what they were doing, or if what they were doing was correct or in their best interest. And in late 2008, 2009, federal government rolled out the Neighborhood Stabilization Program.
Yes.
And I put a grant together with some other nonprofits, and we were granted money to buy foreclosed properties and rehab them and resell them, and it's been a great program. Virginia had planned to buy 156 homes through this grant process from the federal government. To date, they have bought, rehabbed, and sold through its grantees 400.
400.
And Virginia is ranked number 4th in the nation for managing this neighborhood stabilization program. So Catholics for Housing has just sold its 22nd home, and we've got one more that's under lease to purchase. But one of the pictures is my handing keys to one of the buyers.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's a delightful person. He was a Marine, and when we sold, he was in the Prince William County Police Academy.
Oh.
So he's going to do well. He's a great young man.
You know, I saw that, and that's kind of, let's say, just makes you really happy because, and then I saw about Linton Hall. What's demographics of Linton Hall?
Linton Hall was proffered to the county to be sold to Prince William County Police, Fire and Rescue Squad, teachers, municipal employees. I wrote the program. I worked with the County of Prince William, VHDA, to get down payment assistance, and we sold them all. We had 35 qualified applicants, so we did a lottery to see who would be out there, and it's a great community.
So we want to talk about some of the donors because apparently you have great support, you know, the donors and the partnerships.
Yeah.
Charlie, you want to talk about, you know, some of the, what brought you to the table?
Well, we have quite a few donors. They go in one of two ways. They either contribute monthly, contribute money monthly, annually.
Nice.
But we also have some corporate donors. A lot of times, though, we see the corporate donors show up for events that we have, our annual gala. We have a walk. So a lot of the bigger donors will run sponsorships. So that helps out. Karen and the team, they do a good job of following the grants, filling out the grants, and getting us money that way. And so there's just a lot of different ways that we raise money. As you well know, running a nonprofit is very, very challenging. It's hard to make budgets meet, and a lot of times, you know, we're a membership organization, and so we lean heavily on donors, and it's a challenge sometimes.
Absolutely.
And so another way that we do things is that we have a recent give or get policy on the board. And so we have a certain amount of money that each person either has to contribute on the board, or they have to either give money or they get money. Either way.
Like
so
that.
that's not a bad program. We're trying, but it's hard.
And a lot of our donors will choose a program, and a lot of our grantors choose programs. We have several that support the Virginia Ely Senior Rental Assistance Program, which you know is just, you know, we're helping about 55 seniors live independently in Fairfax County, and that's just, it's such a sweet program. We have a Choices Life Skills program that is helping people become self-sufficient. There is never going to be a sufficient supply of affordable housing. And those of us who are in the business need to understand that we need to help educate people so they can move beyond the affordable housing and beyond the housing assistance programs. One of your pictures shows a class in process with our program director. And it's a group, they're wonderful, they are all working and they are all doing very, very well. It's fun to watch them make changes to improve and make a commitment to improve the quality of their life.
Yeah, and I think that that's really what you're giving people a chance and believing in them that they can make a difference. Has there been any challenges in terms of supporting this wonderful organization?
Day in and day out. But
day in and day out.
It's always a challenge because we deal not only with the financial needs, and we deal with properties that we are maintaining. So there's all that maintenance and there's turnover and there's all of those things. And then we're dealing with providing staff to maintain the property, staff to do the teaching for the Choices program. You're a bookkeeper. We have a wonderful bookkeeper. So we have all of those challenges. So my job is sort of, I answer a lot of questions, and I'm watching the programs from all sorts of all different directions, whether someone is receiving what they need, or we've got the ability, the capacity to meet the needs.
You're amazing. Okay, that's all to it. Okay, Charlie, where are the other needs? So someone's watching this, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, let me get involved. So what's the first step?
Well, the first step is just to contact our office. We're located in Dumfries, Virginia, and just get on our donor list. The biggest need that we have is for seniors. As we all know, the baby boomer population is aging. There's a lot of seniors out there who are trying to live on Social Security, and that's all they have. Finding them a place to live is very hard. And so I would say as an organization, our number one need, well, obviously we need money, but I mean our number one need is for the seniors.
For our seniors.
Affordable housing for seniors.
For seniors, that's powerful.
Our program is very unique. It's been going since 1996, and we right now are helping a lot of seniors. When I first started, we were helping 5 or 6 seniors live independently, because there's a lot of seniors who can live independently if they have the financial resources to do so. As I got into Catholics for Housing, the Fairfax County people involved in the funding came to see me, and we began to talk about all the things Fairfax County was doing to support the seniors. Their senior facility, Gum Springs Glen, opened
yes.
almost fully
Yes.
occupied because we supported a number of people in there that did not have the income to do so. Our seniors are all economically fragile. They can earn no more than 30% of the area median income. Our people earn on average about $16,000 a year. And some of them earn as little as $8,800 a year, and we have helped them live independently because they are physically and mentally capable of doing so. So instead of having to go to a nursing home, for instance,
Yes.
and turn whatever income they have over, they get to live independently. They use 40% of their income for their rent. Our program pays the balance. So that means they have a sufficient income to go to the movies once in a while, maybe get their hair done, go grocery shopping. They don't have to choose between paying rent and buying food. Wow. So our program, we are averaging about maybe $400 per month per household in subsidy. And we're keeping right now, we started, as I said, with 5 people, and we are now partnering with Fairfax County much more strongly, and we are serving about 55 seniors a year.
Amazing.
And that's just a drop in the bucket. I have a waiting list that I can't serve.
You have a waiting list.
I cannot serve them.
We cannot serve the waiting list.
Yeah, we
I don't
Yeah.
have enough money.
Yeah, we don't have enough money. And the next avenue that we want to take along the same lines as seniors is that obviously it's funded by Fairfax County, but we want to take the same program and open it up across the area so that we can serve more seniors. But that's very challenging, and so anytime as a nonprofit you go to start a new program, it's very challenging. So I think in the coming years, or hopefully the coming months, we're going to go ahead and implement this senior program and sort of stretch our boundaries, because we need to do that.
Wow.
Fairfax County has been very supportive, but we have a couple of churches that support this program and a private foundation. And we had a gentleman and his wife step up last year and made a 4-year commitment so that we could help 5 new seniors and for the next 4 years. So that's a wonderful
huge.
commitment,
Yeah.
you know. And so we will spend approximately $250,000 this year on senior rental subsidies, and that's just a drop in the bucket.
Just a drop in the bucket. And if you look at it from one senior citizen, if you are subsidizing them $400 a month, I mean, you could do the math. It's $4,800 a year. So each senior that we subsidize is on our average about $5,000 a year. And so in order for you to handle 5 people a year, that's $25,000. But see, that's $25,000 in time, because you don't know how long the senior, right, is going to be living. You don't know how long they're going to be healthy. And so you don't have an end game on that $5,000 a year. So it could be $5,000 a year times 10, 20 years. And so you've got to be well funded in order to handle this.
Wow.
And so it's very challenging.
If you're not, if you don't watch it every day, you don't want to be in a position of saying to a senior, I don't have any funds for you next month. So we are very careful about this. So my heart is with the seniors and making sure they don't have to live on someone's couch or go to a nursing home. We can help them live independently for a year for what it takes a nursing home for a month.
Right.
So when you think about that. So from that extreme to the other.
A year.
Yeah.
Let's just pause on that for a second.
Yes.
A year.
Mhm.
What it takes a nursing home a month?
A month.
Right,
yeah.
$5,000
Yeah.
a month.
Different
Right.
services or what?
Well, they're
are we
living
talking about?
independently, but if you don't have the funds to live in an apartment on your own, then your choice is to go to a nursing home where they will take your Social Security and the state will have the program that will pay the balance. So our people are living independently. They're out walking along the trails, they're riding bicycles, they're doing
and
well.
contributing to our community.
That's right.
Right.
And so my heart goes from that program down to the training program we mentioned a while ago, where we're doing life skills, and we also help all of our first-time homebuyers understand the importance of what it is to be a homeowner. So we do a lot of training. We're helping people move forward through education, and the seniors, we want them to be safe.
Well, I think what you said is powerful, there, because this is the way economically, it just makes great sense.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it makes great sense. And then to talk about what Karen's talking about, that's what we plan on doing with the trailer park. not to say anything against the people, but we want them to start. We have a little house in the middle of the trailer park that we're going to make into like a community center, an education center. And one of the things that we want to do is do the life skills choices program with these guys so that we could give them a little bit more training. So hopefully one day they can move out of the trailer park, they could get their own townhome and own it, and maybe own their own single family house, because that really is the end game with those folks who want to take it that far. And so that's kind of our goal with these people. It's not just to own a trailer park, it's to hopefully try and improve their lives throughout this life skills program.
The important thing is, for me, housing programs has to be a continual movement. You don't want people just to come in and say, okay, I've got an affordable home, I'm going to stay here for the rest of my life. That's never been my goal and my passion. I want people to move forward, because when one person moves forward out of an affordable unit, that means I have it available for someone else.
Yep.
So my goal is to keep moving people forward. And it's not always easy, but that's the fun part of what we do. Choices is an important piece of us. And it's basic information. And all my clients, they know what we teach, but maybe they've forgotten how to use it, or they're in a survival mode. So we have worked really hard helping them awake the dreams they used to have, and helping them want to become self-sufficient.
Well, I had to tell you what a privilege it was to have you both here on it.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully people are watching this and they're saying, oh my goodness, they're getting it done. And maybe they'll be making phone calls to you all.
I would hope so.
Well, I would like to thank both of you for being on the show. And our inspirational quote this time is from former President Jimmy Carter. We must adjust to changing times, but still hold to unchanging principles. Thank you for watching Ingrid's World. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram under Ingrid's World VA. Friend us on Facebook at Ingrid's World. And if you miss a show, well, watch us on YouTube at Ingrid's World LLC. We hope that you have been inspired to make a difference.